In 2021, one of the biggest stories coming out of Web3 was the explosion of GameFi and play-to-earn games. And now come 2022, we're in a point where there are so many projects promising you can move to earn, you can play to earn, you can date to earn, you can sleep to earn, and you can do so many other things to earn. And in this episode of the Money Panda, we're going to explore the long-term viability of these projects and much more. So let's get into it, shall we?
Welcome to the Money Panda, hosted by Elvis Kolawole.
To understand this growing phenomenon I call GameFi Spinoffs, I turn to Furby and Pekka Kelkka. Pekka Kelkka is one of the most prominent blockchain leaders in the Middle East. It was great to hear what he had to say on this topic.
Okay, everyone, welcome. And today I have my new friend called Pekka Kelkka. Did I pronounce it correctly?
You must have some Finnish DNA with you.
Of course, but I love the state of Finland. It's absolutely like one of my favorite countries like ever. I mean,
thank you.
Yes. It literally like has like sky high HDI ratings, and it's one of those countries I really love in the Nordic regions. So yeah, I'm here with Pekka Kelkka, and today of course we're going to talk about GameFi spin-offs. And of course, like you all know, in the year 2021, we could say one of the biggest stories out of the Web3 ecosystem was the explosion of GameFi and the play-to-earn movement, more or less. And of course, with that success, a lot of people tried, or at least are looking to replicate that success with different kinds of models where they promise to have you earn something by having you take a particular action. There are people who say they're able to have you learn to earn, have you date to earn, have you sleep to earn, have you procreate to earn, and all sorts of frankly outlandish claims out there. And today with Pekka, I'm hoping that he can unpack some of these things and perhaps we can see what is actually favorable to the ecosystem in the long term, and what might possibly just bite the dust, especially with the current crypto crash, or the current bear market, which has its way of thieving away projects that have no long-term viability. Yeah. So of course, before I begin, Mr. Pekka, I would really like you to tell us a bit more about yourself. I'd like the audience to know much more about you and your journey so far in the cryptoverse.
Right. Okay. First, I'm gonna be 63 next week Sunday, 3rd of July. I'm probably one of the oldest guys in the scene. But I started my first company in '94, and I've been online since those days, so early days of internet. Actually, the same year that the first commercial browser was launched, Netscape. Last 6 years I've been full-time on blog. Yeah. Last 6 years I've been full-time blogger. Sorry, please.
No, you're making me excited. I'm really excited because like most people in this space are almost never up to 40. So like it's a big deal for me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying every second, including these seconds with you. I mean, I came across 2016 late. I came across with Ethereum white paper, and I was sold because I come from the enterprise software world, so to say, on business development side of it and sales strategy. And if there's a mechanism that actually can cut off the unnecessary and most of the times very disturbing middlemen on the procedures and transactions, and I really got hooked up with the document itself. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat in a couple of months, and I was really, really excited about it. And it took me quite a while to understand that it's nothing without the cryptocurrency, the actual value of this particular infrastructure. When I got my first ETH in early 2017, so quite good timing from that perspective. And since those days I started to go to meetups here in Dubai. I live in Dubai in 16 years now here. I was researching a lot because that's what I do. If I'm not on for example, in this kind of video interviews and meetings and meetups. I'm online and researching. That's what I do. So yeah, I started to go to these meetups because I was so interested in what this was all about. Quite soon I found myself speaking on these meetups instead of being in the audience, and that's been my kind of my path overall. I'm last 1.5 years again based on what I do. I ended up on an advisory role on quite many projects. Now I'm advising 5 projects today. So yeah, all Web3. I'm plus one, which is a centralized exchange, by the way. So yeah, I have this kind of, my mantra is to explain to people that because this is kind of second round for me, because early days of internet, late 90s, early 2000, nobody believed in internet. It was scammers and drug money and terrorist money, whatever. And then big change happened when actually the regulations came on board, and that's something that we need to have also certain type of and enough regulated systems for the blockchain and cryptos also that will take this to mainstream. But that's kind of thing that we're just eagerly waiting. And now, yeah, I'm really enjoying all the seconds and every minute I'm on the scene, and it seems that I can work 24/7 because, well, I have my furthest away west customers from the project that I'm advising is in Argentina, and then I have quite much of the other side of the world in China and the other parts of Asia, and of course in the middle, like UK and Europe also. But yeah, so here I am. That's what I do.
Awesome. I'm glad you were here, like from the early days of the internet, and then today you actually you're actually still here. That means you understand what it's like for an ecosystem to like be in its infancy, and then to actually grow, and then to achieve mainstream adoption. So you have a lot of context, especially into projects that will never make it. You probably saw the .com bubble, right? You were probably very active then and all that. I mean, I was just a little child at the time, but of course, because myself, I am 29. I just turned 29 this year, so I'm yet to even be 30. So definitely I was a child at the time, but then it's always interesting to see you know, how ecosystems really like broke through the early stages, and just the same way the blockchain universe is doing right now. So that brings us to the topic of today. So play to earn games, blockchain gaming basically, and the GameFi movement, it had a really big run last year, and it more or less got into the beginning of this year, except of course before the bear market like tanked most assets and a lot of interest, right? But then there have been some successful projects that have tried to capitalize on a similar sort of business model, and I think a very good example was the move to earn movement, which was of course chaired by the likes of StepN, which rallied like really big time for quite a long time. That was before, you know, of course, the general market sentiments caught up as well. So I would like to ask you, is there any one of these business models, say whether it's the move to earn, the sleep to earn, the dates to earn, that you might think have actual, learn to earn, you know, is there any one of them you think has actual long-term viability?
First of all, everything related to cryptos, blockchain, Web3 process today, the fundamentals are the same than there is on any software, any technology project. You need to have solid technology, then you need to have good strategy, and the whole ball game will be played, and those will be what will be successful and make it big on the scene. They will have the biggest committed community. And how to get that? Of course, there are different mechanisms, but quite many people are jumping into this first to see how they can earn. whatever mechanism it is. But that cannot be the core. If that is the only mechanism is to generate money, whatever you do there, you don't care. This does not last. When it comes to GameFi, it needs to be closer to Web3 gaming experience. And when we are in this particular status, it will take a while still. And of course, this play-to-earn GameFi platforms today, their earning mechanisms, they are not sustainable. So that needs to be developed much further. So because they cannot take any this kind of crash what happen in the markets, they simply can't take it. And even if it's a good market, they cannot. It's not sustainable earning mechanisms. Those needs to be developed. But the basic fact is that I'm also publishing it in quite many places that Accenture came out with one of the researches 2 months ago, I believe it was, that they on this particular article they claim or say that there is 2.7 billion. It's a huge number. 2.7 billion active video gamers, online gamers in the world. And if this is the potential to join Web3 to this play-to-earn blockchain gaming. So we just need to go step by step and maybe like patient. And by the way, that's my one of my themes also, and this is that I explain everybody, whatever the market condition it is, patience is the word for you when you're in crypto, and develop yourself, understand better, join the best platforms to research and study and use them. But that's pretty much the case. Technology there, build up your community. It needs to be committed community. Money is not the only driver. It needs to be there, good solid earning mechanism. Speed needs to be there, but we need to develop them much further than they are today.
All right. I love the fact that you mentioned, of course, the communities. You mentioned the communities, you mentioned patience, and of course, you mentioned the fact that focus has to be somewhere else aside from just purely earning, because of course purely earning doesn't guarantee longevity. Although I mean something I actually did ask you was I wanted to really know, say from experience, is there any one of those movements you see like becoming, say, the next play to earn, or having the same sort of explosive effect that play to earn had? Because all of a sudden people make this permutation right now. For example, if say you have a dating industry worth XXX billions of dollars, the thinking is that if I could have, say, 5% of that industry that somehow is also interested in the Web3 ecosystem, I could create demand for people who are willing to, say, date and also earn money. I mean, that's usually the investor pitch, right? But of course, you actually know that, for example, the motivations that have people being on dating apps are markedly different from what makes somebody go play a game. So it's slightly different markets. So of course there can be some kind of one-fits-all approach. So that's just by the way. All I'm trying to say is there one of them that caught your eye and you said, okay, there is a bit of a future in here, like for this?
First of all, I'm a big fan of myself. I am a lifetime learner, so I kind of like the idea if you can earn by learning. But then again, how these mechanisms will be sustainable, we don't have them yet there. So it is much experimental today what we have. But again, if you think it this way, that what needs to be there on the platform itself to be secure and enough, have all the elements to transact, TPS, transaction per second will be big enough number, and these kind of things. That's data on the network. So this is related to community again, a number of transactions, the data there is on the network. And when we're talking about this staking protocols, data is your coin. So this needs to be understood. There cannot be anything successful if you have a community that is not really committed to keep their coins and data, which is data, to guarantee the security and all the other elements that needs to be there to function platform. So if now what's happening, guys are jumping from different earning platforms to different earning platforms just to hunt the money. And this cannot be the case. I want to point out and to stress this particular thing, that build your platform the way that people really want to be part of that. That's part of their life. They want to be on your platform instead of going from one platform and taking the money with them to another platform. So that's the biggest thing. But I also believe that there will be quite many different earning procedures and platforms. For example, I'm advising very interesting project from UK, which is a script.tv, and that's watch to earn. And then just kind of coincidence that today I had a meeting, and it's quite early stage project. I can give a little hint about it. It is research, and we will build up the same kind of mechanism that you can participate on research, and you can bring your own, like Wikipedia type of approach almost, but not much about it yet. But in 1 month's time we come out with this kind of a concept. And you can join the platform, and you can research, you can do research, you can participate in research, you can ask research, and there are different kind of earning mechanisms based on this. Some of these will fly, most of them not, but the best one will fly. And believe me, a committed community, that's the key. Of course, the technology needs to be there and so forth.
Of course. that actually sounds kind of interesting. I can imagine Wikipedia like looking into something like that.
Yes.
So okay, so just two last things. So what do you actually think about, say, GameFi as it is? Since GameFi essentially began this rush of earning, by doing something on the blockchain, what do you think the short term looks like for GameFi projects? What do you think it looks like?
The peak what we had last year, as you explained already in the beginning of this interview, that was the peak that will not come back soon. First of all, we know what's happening in the global economy and financial systems. That's delaying everything. On the other hand, the mechanisms that there was last year, they are not sustainable. Most of them look almost like pyramid schemes in that sense. But this needs to be developed, and this takes time. And this needs to be combined with the best gaming platform developers from Web 2, also to give this kind of knowledge and understanding to Web 3 programmers and coders, and this kind of collaboration. And not to forget that this cannot be isolated island from the financial systems in the world. We need to have this best economists from the world to join in this. This kind of combination of these different skill sets and experience, that will make and develop, these guys will develop the best earning platforms, whatever there is, gaming or watching or walking or moving or dancing, whatever it is. But yeah, this kind of system, combining the different skill sets and experience from the markets, this kind of team will be the winning team, and this kind of team will develop the best platforms.
Awesome. You raise awesome points. So just one last thing. So I want us to play a game right before you go. So it's a very simple game. Wait.
I'm nervous already.
So it's a very simple game, but it's touchy. So I will want you to so I'm going to mention a name of somebody that's a little popular in the Web3 ecosystem, and I would want you to describe that person with one word. No more than one word. No more than one word.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1, Elon Musk.
Brilliant mind.
That's more than one word, but I'll take brilliant.
Okay, brilliant is okay.
Then Gary V.
We should not forget the mind. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
The marketer.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. That's pretty fair. Jack Dorsey.
The beard.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Okay. What about CZ?
Well, Dubai.
When you think CZ, you just think Dubai immediately.
Well, yeah. First of all, he's doing a good job to bring so much other projects in here.
Oh
so,
yeah,
he's a leader.
He's done an amazing job. Absolutely,
Yes.
no doubt about it. Okay, so one last person, the guy himself, Vitalik.
Einstein.
Wow, fitting. He must be our own crypto Einstein. Oh, absolutely. Anyway, thank you so much, Pekka Kelkka.
It was my pleasure.
I so much appreciate your time, sharing it with me and sharing these insights. Of course, like you said, I do believe community and openness to, of course, invite the best economists, the best researchers, the best programmers from Web 2, and of course from other industries, other specialized industries are definitely what is needed. And of course, that magical thing that a lot of people really lack, which is patience. We need a lot of patience in this industry.
Yes.
Yes, so definitely we have this, and we do have a lot more successful business models such as the GameFi, and definitely far more successful Web3. Thank you so much. So
my pleasure. Thank
when
you.
we speak again, thank you. Bye-bye.
Baz Furby is a prominent founder, investor, and CEO in the blockchain gaming space, and it was good to hear what he had to say about this as well. Hello everyone, so today I'm here with Baz Furby. Baz Furby is the CEO of the GameFi title. Of course, he'll tell you about that himself. But of course, today we're here to talk about the GameFi spin-offs. Of course, we've been hearing about so many companies that seem like they're attempting to jump on the bandwagon that's been created by the successful GameFi and play-to-earn movement. We have so many, but before we get into that discussion, I'd like the audience to know about you, Baz. So, what are you involved with currently in the blockchain space?
Yeah, sure. No, thanks for the intro and nice to meet everyone. So my name's Baz Furby. I'm currently CEO of a company called Disruption X. We are essentially building an ecosystem for blockchain play-to-earn gaming. So it will be a destination that you can come to, a bit like Netflix for films, but for blockchain games.
Wow.
And we're essentially bringing an ecosystem together where guilds and games and players globally can participate in play-to-earn gaming. There'll be an NFT marketplace and all those types of things attached to it. So it's really exciting to try and bring some visibility to that space for the whole play-to-earn economy.
Oh, that sounds pretty awesome. I mean, that looks like a frontier that's yet to be fully explored.
Yeah, it's a new one, right? So gaming exists. There's billions of gamers worldwide, and the play-to-earn space is still quite niche. And even as a play-to-earn fan or expert, there's no single place you can go to play all the games. Yeah. And that's really the vision, is to try and simplify the journey for gamers and I guess demystify the whole space a little bit and just make it fun. Just make fun gaming in one place where you can earn some money. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one keyword, fun. Like lots of fun, and it feels like a lot of these companies here might deprioritize the fun these days, which probably shouldn't be, And then speaking of fun, it seems with these spin-offs I was talking to you off camera about, there are people who promise the ability to for people to take several actions, very random actions, perhaps sleeping, dating, having sex, learning, moving, and a lot of other random things. And they do promise that you can actually earn a bit of an income by doing these things. So I feel like it does feel like they're popping up a lot, and they are trying to perhaps replicate the sort of success that's been seen, the sort of explosion that's been seen in the GameFi space. So I'd like to know, is there one particular business model that actually like catches your eye and you feel that is actually promising these days?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting economy that's kind of propped up around the something to earn. And like you say, there's crazy ones. I've seen like sex to earn and play to earn and run to earn and all of these things. And I mean, I'm a big fan of the movement. I'm not a big fan of the buzzwords, but a big fan of the movement because it's a transition from an economy that we currently live in, where basically everything costs money. And if you want to participate in a particular club or a sport or play a game, you know, ultimately they're all kind of pay to play. Everything costs us money, and the people that are benefiting from that are obviously the people that create those platforms. Like Facebook is essentially attention equals advertising equals money for Facebook, right? And what we should do is be trying to change that economy a little bit into my attention for running or playing or having sex, whatever it might be. You know, there's an economy that evolves around that, and that should benefit the player, the participant, as well as the company. And that's what we're trying to get towards with Play to Earn, is that ultimately people spend a lot of time and attention on these games, and there are in-game assets that people buy, and there are competitions that take place, and we would provide that service. You know, as a company, of course, we need bills to pay and revenues to generate, but I think for that attention, time span, and you know, attention that people put into the platform and the commitment they have to that service, whatever it might be, I think there should be an element of sharing economy that's part of it. And that's why you get these kind of sports apps that are generating the run to earn, and they generate revenue by having sponsorship with Nike and Adidas or whoever the brands might be involved, and they're generating some advertising for your time and attention that you're spending in the app. And of course, some of that revenue should probably be shared to the people that are, you know, participating on the platform. So I can see how things like run to earn can exist, and you know, play to earn. We're building games. People buy in-game items, there's revenue generated, and we share that and run that in competitions and different achievements that you can reach. So I just see that sharing economy as being a really kind of key point going forward. I think the main point probably that is a frustration for some people looking at that space is the sustainability of them. You know, ultimately these companies can't exist and give money away forever. You know, they have to have a real business model behind them, and that will either be generated by, like I said, in-game items being bought, or competitions being won, or sponsorship being achieved from brands. And there has to be money to come in for it to go out. That's just like economics, right? So I think as long as these models are sustainable and they are thinking about their longevity before they're, you know, launching a crypto project, then I think that's really key.
Okay, that's awesome. So I think you did mention the fact that of course there needs to be actual attention to longevity. There does need to be of course a business model that's actually sustainable in the longer term, and of course attention to a little more than, say, the short-term benefits, you know, of trying to raise some money via token sales, via NFT sales, whatever. So I would want to know, well, without mentioning some projects, like, are there, say, one of these business models that really stand out to you aside the play to earn, the pure play to earn? Because we do have the sleep to earn, we do have, say, dates to earn, we do have the move to earn. You did mention that the run to earn, but what else really like stands out, say, about the run to earn? For example, is it the size of the market or something? Which one of these really appealed to you?
Well, I think there needs to be a real business attached to them. So, I mean, let's just brainstorm and make a project up. But let's just say, for example, like my favorite trainer store that sells sports trainers was to create a run to earn app. I think that's a really smart idea because there is e-commerce at one end of it that's generating revenue, and the play to earn app can be it can essentially be a plug on to the e-commerce, and that's a real business with some functionality that is essentially driving adoption, usage, and loyalty, familiarity with the brand. And then this run to earn platform is a kind of catalyst for the e-commerce, the real business, being more successful. And I think if that economy, if that like run to earn element can combine with the real business, then that's got massive longevity, because people are passionate about health and fitness and sport, and ultimately to be able to run you need a pair of trainers and these things work together really well. So I mean, that's just like brainstorming some stuff out loud, but that's how I see these to earn economies need to connect themselves to a real business, is that they can actually be a real real world high street store that sells trainers, or in our case we're a gaming company that has a to earn element to it, and there's a real business attached to that. So yeah, I think they can't just appear out of nowhere. There needs to be economy connected to it, and a revenue stream. I mentioned things like Facebook earlier, right? So Facebook is free, but they always say if something's free, then you are the product. And in the case of Facebook, you are the product of advertising, and that's how they make their revenue. So Facebook is a really good model that is obviously a huge organization. So if you can connect your play to earn to a real world economy of some type, then I think that's the sustainable route to it.
Okay, so let me give you a hypothetical scenario. I like the fact that you mentioned your hypothetical business, and the fact that it is a real business, only that it just has, say, a run to earn element attached to it. So that run to earn element is basically like an extra source of income, and perhaps some other form of consumer engagement of some kind, that kind of thing. So that's the element it adds, not necessarily you bringing the run to earn element and trying to attach a business as a utility. I mean, perhaps that's not something that's sustainable, right? So okay, so that's just on one side. I wanted to bring, say, a hypothetical business. Say for example, I decided to run, say, a sex to earn startup, and right now I could argue, say, okay, there's probably a market of people who might want to earn some kind of an income by having sex, because there are a lot of people who will do it anyway for free. And then I just estimate that at some point some people would want to earn some form of an income from it, and that's my bet in the long term. Meanwhile, if you take the example of, say, a Facebook, I would also argue a large market did not exactly exist for social networking. It's not like everybody was envisioning a world where everyone would be interconnected all the time. That just wasn't there at the time. But then they were willing to at least take the bet that, okay, this could be this in the future. What if some say sex to earn startup is willing to bet on that in the future? Do you think bets like that should be encouraged, and do you think it's something that's good for the ecosystem as a whole?
I think as long as they can connect and find the business opportunity before they run out of money, is key. Because there is an argument for building an app or an economy like a play to earn or a sex to earn or whatever it might be, that doesn't necessarily have that longevity model worked out yet. If you can get your audience to the size and scale it needs to be, then there becomes native value in having that audience. I'm just thinking back to Facebook again, but WhatsApp got purchased by Facebook before they even worked out how to generate revenue or how to.
Yeah.
But because they had billions of users, they inherently have value, even though they haven't worked out how to make money yet. And I think if some of these strategies or some of these play to earn or type to earn businesses, maybe they're going down the route of try to drive adoption, get as many users in as possible, and then work out what their ultimate business model is. That there is inherently value in having millions of users, and it might just be advertising. We keep on joking about the kind of sex to earn side stuff, but if you've got enough members signed up, then there is an advertising opportunity for any of the toys companies,
all that.
all the fashion that goes with that. So there is an inherent value in the audience, but I just think that's a bet, and it's I wouldn't necessarily put my money into that as an investment, because you're just hoping that you get the audience, and then otherwise if you don't get to the critical mass that it requires to get the business, really all you're doing is just giving your investors money away to people on the app. And that's not the sustainable model. That's not the smart decision that people should be making. So you just require more investors to come in than people to be on the platform, and it's just giving people's money away, which isn't great. It's a dangerous slope to approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Although there are lots of businesses, even outside Web3, that do exactly just that. Anyway, but that's a different topic. So let's okay. So while we're speaking on the topic of GameFi alternatives, what about GameFi? You are in the industry. And we could say even before there was a bit of a market downturn, bear market, I could say, like where it's a point where, like lots of confidence in the potential growth trajectory, like of the sector is more or less shaken. I feel it was a bit shaken up, especially by the performance of, say, some of the biggest titles, the likes of Axie Infinity, and a lot of other ones. It feels like their performance shook up a bit of confidence in the system. So what do you feel is, say, what do you think the future holds? Say the short to medium term future holds for GameFi?
Yeah, it's a really good point you make about some of the early adopters, some of those first movers in the market. They caught the attention of what play to earn really is, and they massively had kind of overinflated, kind of speculated price and valuations, and it just went bonkers, right? That isn't sustainable, and that can't last forever. And I think it is the natural behavior of any new emerging market that exists, is that it goes through an initial bonkers phase, call it a bubble burst or whatever you want to say, but essentially it's good for the market that we learn from what a sustainable model looks like. We start to improve the quality of games that exists. We also need to attract new gamers, because the only gamers on some of those platforms right now, they're really kind of like crypto people that see an opportunity to earn money. And I'm not sure those people are kind of natively natural kind of gamers. So I think there is the maturity of the GameFi market that happens now, and to win and to be successful, I think what we need to do is demystify the crypto side of things and attract normal gamers. That will take us from the few 100,000, kind of crypto gamers that we have right now into the millions and billions of gamers that are like naturally out there in the world. And then quality of games will come up. The sustainability that we've learned from some of the mistakes of the early projects, will mature. And I think ultimately, I don't think it should be perceived as a way to get kind of millionaire rich. I don't think play to earn is the next housing market, route to become a billionaire. Like it's not, but it's entertainment that can generate an income, and entertainment normally costs money. So just naturally by achieving some income from it, that's going to be really valuable. And different economies in the different regions of the world, income means different things. I actually think that a few $100 maybe to somebody in the US is pocket money, potentially. Whereas, but maybe somebody else in another market, maybe say the Philippines, it might pay for college fees to get the kids through university, for example, and or pay a living wage. So I think play to earn can mean different things in different markets, and I think the evolution of play to earn gaming just I think it will grow, but I think it needs to calm down a bit as well in terms of like it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's entertainment that can generate some income as well.
All right. That's a really healthy way to look at it, and I'm really grateful for your insights on the other business models. Of course, I like the fact that you pointed out the fact that we have to think of these things as businesses, and you have to include the earning element or the DeFi or crypto element has to be added to actual existing businesses. I think that's a really sustainable way to look at it instead of having that process inverted. So here's one last segment. I told you about the game I want to play. So basically, I'm going to mention some players or some very popular people in Web 3.0 industry right now, and you will describe them with one word. One word.
Oh, goodness, this is going to really test my knowledge now, isn't it? I bet you're going to trick me.
No. No. They're all like really popular, I promise you. Okay, so are you ready? Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see how I do.
Okay, so number one, Elon Musk.
Oh, futurist.
Sorry?
Yeah, futurist is my word.
Futurist.
Yeah, we're going to the moon, but not in a crypto way.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Okay, Mark Cuban.
Playboy.
Oh my, that's one way to look at it. That's one way. Okay, then number three, CZ.
I just got to say crypto. I think CZ is crypto right now. Like he's brought crypto to the masses. Yeah, so fair play to everything Binance has done. I think just the word crypto is that.
It's almost synonymous with him. Okay, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Then number four, Gary V.
Voice would be the word that I use for Gary V. I've watched him for like 10, 15 years, I think now. Way before crypto. I was into the early social media stuff, and he was one of the voices. And everything he does is about the voice of the people and getting your voice out there. So
Yeah, and I've been a marketer also for a while, so I mean that was more or less where I knew him from before crypto stuff. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty true. Then
cool. I'm glad I've recognized everybody you've said so far. I haven't embarrassed myself.
No, there's two very, very popular guys. So what about Jack Dorsey?
Without being rude, maybe lost. I think he's kind of lost his way a little bit recently. Obviously, he's had an incredible career and done some amazing things, but I feel like he's just got a little bit lost and outspoken in some of the things he's done recently. So, lost.
Okay, that's one way to look at him. I totally understand that. Okay, and the last guy, our crypto savior. I can't believe I just used the word to describe him, but he's Vitalik Buterin. So one word to describe Vitalik.
I would say intelligence. Like he's got a vision for the future of the internet that is visionary, and I just think intelligence sums it up really nicely. Like he's got an eye for what's going to happen. And whether Ethereum is the future of the internet or not, it's certainly going to play a huge role in getting there in terms of the kind of multi-layered ecosystem and all that type of stuff. So very intelligent guy.
Yeah, really smart guy. The way he's able to imagine all these things and basically set out a bit of a blueprint for a lot of others to follow and improve upon. I mean, if the project itself might not necessarily be the last mile for like what happens with the ecosystem, but definitely it sets a lot of the foundation. So fair play to him. Fair play to him. So thank you so much, Baz. This was a lot of fun, and this was so insightful. I mean, I think when I turn off this recording, I'm actually going to tell you what some other people described some of these guys as. It's thing. But thank you so much. I really like your insights on you know, the way the XXX to earn model should go going forward, and how you see these projects gaining longevity. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time, and see you soon, of course.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for having me.